The Lutz family's tale of terror in Amityville, New York, is a chilling chronicle that will forever stand as a haunting testament to the horrors that can seep through the walls of an unsuspecting home. It is a story that defies rational explanation, plunging its victims into a nightmarish realm where the line between reality and nightmare blurs to the point of non-existence. In the quiet, picturesque town of Amityville, George and Kathy Lutz found the house of their dreams, a sprawling colonial with a charming facade and a beckoning warmth. Little did they know that beneath the polished exterior lurked a force far more sinister than they could ever fathom. This is a story of a house, or rather, a malevolent entity that claimed ownership over it, permeating every inch with its malefic presence. From the moment the Lutz family crossed the threshold of their newfound abode, they found themselves ensnared in a web of inexplicable phenomena that defied reason. Objects moved of their own accord, whispers slithered through the corridors, and unseen hands reached out from the shadows. The house was alive with a malevolence that touched every aspect of their lives. As each day unfolded, the supernatural onslaught escalated, plunging the Lutzes into a waking nightmare they could not escape. Night after night, they were tormented by relentless visions, violent nightmares that seared into their consciousness. The veil between the living and the dead grew thin, and the entities that haunted their dwelling reveled in their torment. But it was not only the spectral inhabitants that inflicted terror upon the family. The house itself seemed to take on a life of its own, a brooding, sentient presence that seeped into their thoughts, poisoning their minds and driving them to the brink of sanity. The once loving George transformed into a man possessed, his actions driven by a force beyond his control. As I recount the Lutz family's experiences in that infamous Amityville house, dear reader, be prepared to be plunged into a world where the supernatural collides with the mundane, where the darkness within four walls proves far more potent than any evil that walks under the sun. The Amityville Horror awaits, ready to consume your thoughts and fill your dreams with unspeakable dread. The Lutz family's dreams of domestic bliss began to crumble like ancient mortar, as the insidious presence lurking within the walls of their Amityville home began to unveil its true nature. It started innocently enough, with minor oddities that one could easily dismiss as figments of an overactive imagination. But these disturbances, like seeds sown in fertile soil, soon sprouted into a tangled web of supernatural occurrences that no rational mind could deny. In the early days of their residence, the Lutz family noticed subtle, unsettling changes within the house. Objects took on a life of their own, shifting their positions as if guided by unseen hands. Books cascaded from shelves, their pages fluttering with an ethereal breeze that defied the stillness of the air. Doors swung open and closed with a malicious creak, as if propelled by a spectral force that reveled in tormenting its newfound inhabitants. Kathy, the mother of the family, often found herself alone in the house during the day. As she went about her daily routine, a sense of unease settled over her like a suffocating shroud. Whispers, faint and indistinct, tickled her ears, leaving her with a nagging sense that she was being watched by unseen eyes. Shadows danced in the corners of her vision, disappearing when she turned her head, leaving her questioning her own sanity. The children, innocent beings unaware of the darkness permeating their once happy home, began to exhibit signs of unease. Night after night, they awoke in a state of terror, drenched in sweat, their small bodies trembling with fear. They spoke of monstrous figures lurking in the shadows, of voices that whispered malevolent secrets into their ears. Their sleep, once a sanctuary of dreams, became a battleground of nightmares, where the line between reality and the ethereal blurred into a nightmarish haze. But it was George, the pillar of strength for his family, who bore the brunt of the supernatural assault. As nightfall cast its pall over Amityville, he found himself ensnared in a sinister grip that defied explanation. He would wake in the dead of night, his body paralyzed, the weight of an invisible presence pressing upon his chest. His mind, once clear and resolute, was filled with a cacophony of whispers, taunting and tempting him towards darkness. The unexplained phenomena, initially dismissed as mere coincidences, grew in intensity and frequency, casting an ever-darkening shadow over the Lutz family's lives. Their dreams of a peaceful existence shattered as the line between the real and the otherworldly blurred beyond recognition. In the face of these growing horrors, the family's unease turned into a palpable fear, foreshadowing the true nightmare that awaited them within the heart of their haunted home. As the unexplained phenomena continued to torment the Lutz family, the Amityville house revealed its insidious nature in ever more sinister ways. It seemed to feed off their fear, growing stronger with each passing day, relishing in the terror it instilled within their hearts. The walls themselves seemed to pulse with a malevolent energy. An icy chill pervaded the air, causing goosebumps to rise on the Lutz's flesh even in the warmth of summer. Dark stains appeared on the ceilings, oozing like sinister wounds that defied any logical explanation. The house groaned and creaked, its very foundation seemingly alive, as if it were a creature biding its time, waiting to strike. George, once a stalwart figure, now found himself ensnared by a sinister force that held him captive within the house's grip. He would wake in the dead of night, his mind clouded with feverish dreams that blurred the line between reality and nightmare. Shadows, elongated and contorted, slithered across the walls, whispering sly promises of power and dominance. They wrapped themselves around George's mind, twisting his thoughts until they resembled something unholy. Kathy, too, bore witness to the escalating horrors. Dark apparitions manifested before her eyes, flickering in and out of existence like ghosts caught between realms. The walls, adorned with family portraits, seemed to distort, the faces of loved ones twisting into grotesque masks of malevolence. Every step she took within the house felt like treading upon a precipice, her senses heightened to a level where even the slightest creak of a floorboard sent shivers down her spine. The children, innocent souls caught in the crossfire of the supernatural onslaught, became increasingly withdrawn and fearful. Their once lively laughter was replaced by hushed whispers and haunted gazes. They spoke of voices that taunted them, of unseen hands that tugged at their limbs in the dead of night. The very essence of childhood innocence was tainted by the relentless presence that lingered within the walls. With each passing day, the unexplained phenomena grew bolder, pushing the boundaries of what the Lutz family could endure. The house seemed to possess a malevolence beyond comprehension, drawing them deeper into its dark embrace. The line between sanity and madness blurred, and the family clung to each other, desperately seeking solace in their shared nightmare. Little did they know that the true horrors of Amityville were only just beginning. As the unexplained phenomena gained strength, reaching a crescendo of terror, the Lutz family would be faced with a choice: to succumb to the forces that sought to destroy them or to fight with every ounce of strength they had left. The nightmare had only just revealed its fangs, sinking them deeper into the souls of those unfortunate enough to call the Amityville house their home. Within the foreboding walls of the Amityville house, a sinister presence had taken root, ready to unleash its malevolence upon the Lutz family. It was as if the very fabric of the house had become a portal to a realm of darkness and despair, allowing malevolent entities to seep into their lives with a voracious hunger. As the days wore on, the Lutzes found themselves besieged by an escalating onslaught of supernatural phenomena that defied all logic. Demonic growls echoed through the corridors, resonating in the very marrow of their bones. Foul odors permeated the air, a putrid miasma that clung to their senses, searing itself into their memories. Visions of shadowy figures danced at the periphery of their vision, flickering in and out of existence like macabre phantoms. The children, their innocent eyes unable to comprehend the horrors that surrounded them, would catch glimpses of these specters. Faces twisted with rage and despair stared back at them, their eyes black pits of malevolence that sent chills racing down their spines. But it was during the witching hour that the true extent of the malevolent entity's power was unleashed. The veil between the living and the dead grew thin, and the Lutz family found themselves trapped in a waking nightmare. They would wake to find themselves paralyzed, their bodies weighed down by an invisible force, as the unholy presence swirled around them, feeding off their fear. In these moments, the Lutz's minds became fertile ground for the entities to sow their seeds of despair. Whispers, laced with venomous intent, slithered into their thoughts, urging them towards violence and self-destruction. George, in particular, became a vessel for the dark forces that sought to consume them all. His once loving demeanor twisted into a facade of anger and hostility, his actions driven by an insidious influence that tore at the fabric of his soul. The malevolent entities reveled in the chaos they had unleashed. They toyed with the Lutzes, their sadistic games pushing the family to the brink of sanity. Every step within the Amityville house felt like navigating a minefield, where each corner held the potential for a new encounter with the unseen, a confrontation with the darkest recesses of the human psyche. In the depths of their torment, the Lutz family could only begin to comprehend the true nature of the malevolent entities that had claimed their home. Their grip tightened, their presence insidious, as the family's struggles against the encroaching darkness intensified. Little did they know that what awaited them in the following days would bring them face to face with a horror beyond their wildest nightmares. As the malevolent entities continued to unleash their sinister powers within the Amityville house, the Lutz family found themselves ensnared in a terrifying game of psychological torment and physical agony. Each day brought new horrors, as the supernatural forces deepened their hold, leaving the family teetering on the precipice of their own unraveling. The once calm haven of sleep became a battlefield of nightmarish proportions. The Lutz family's dreams were invaded by twisted visions that defied comprehension. George, tormented by restless nights, would wake drenched in sweat, his mind haunted by grotesque images of blood-soaked walls and demonic figures clawing their way towards him. The line between the dream world and waking reality blurred, leaving him trapped in a perpetual state of terror. But it wasn't just the nightmares that haunted their nights, it was the physical manifestations of the malevolent entity's wrath. The family would awake to find inexplicable bruises and scratches etched upon their bodies, as if invisible claws had raked across their flesh. The air itself crackled with an electric charge, sending shivers down their spines, as if unseen hands reached out to touch them in the darkness. The Lutz's mental fortitude began to crumble under the relentless assault. Paranoia gnawed at their minds like a ravenous beast, whispering doubts and insecurities that festered within. They questioned their own sanity, unsure of what was real and what was conjured by the insidious forces that enveloped them. Each interaction became a potential threat, every sound a harbinger of impending doom. Even their attempts to seek solace outside the confines of the Amityville house proved futile. Friends and loved ones, drawn into the family's desperate pleas for help, soon found themselves entangled in the malevolent web that ensnared them. Relationships strained, alliances fractured, as the sinister presence seeped into every aspect of the Lutz family's lives, poisoning the very bonds that held them together. Yet, amidst the chaos and despair, a flicker of hope remained. The Lutz family's love for one another, though battered and scarred, proved to be a beacon in the encroaching darkness. They clung to their unity, their determination to protect one another serving as a defiant act against the malevolent entities that sought to tear them apart. As the malevolent entities grew stronger, their sadistic games escalated, drawing the Lutz family deeper into the abyss. The line between victim and perpetrator blurred, leaving them teetering on the edge of their own humanity. In the face of such relentless evil, the family's strength wavered, but a glimmer of resilience remained, a testament to the indomitable spirit that refused to surrender to the darkness that gripped their souls. Yet, the true test of their resilience was yet to come. As the malevolent entity's power reached its zenith, the Lutzes would find themselves confronting the ultimate horror that lay in wait within the depths of their haunted home. In the final act of the Lutz family's harrowing ordeal within the Amityville house, the malevolent entities unleashed their full wrath, culminating in a cataclysmic confrontation that would test the very limits of their courage and resilience. As the days wore on, the malevolent presence grew more desperate, sensing that its grip on the Lutz family was slipping. It intensified its efforts, pushing the boundaries of horror to new heights. Rooms became suffused with an otherworldly darkness, where the air grew heavy with the stench of decay. The walls seemed to pulse with an insidious energy, as if they were alive with the malevolent entity's twisted desires. The Lutz family found themselves confronted by the full force of the supernatural onslaught. Doors slammed shut with bone-rattling force, trapping them within rooms as the malevolent entities taunted and jeered from the shadows. Inanimate objects became instruments of terror, hurtling through the air as if propelled by invisible hands. The very architecture of the house seemed to contort and warp, its dimensions shifting and distorting with a malefic intent. But it was within the hidden room in the basement, the site of Ronald DeFeo Jr.'s heinous crimes, that the true epicenter of evil revealed itself. The Lutzes, driven by a desperate need for answers, delved into the secrets buried within its walls. They uncovered dark artifacts and remnants of occult rituals, invoking a darkness far beyond their comprehension. The malevolent entities, sensing their intrusion, intensified their attacks, turning the hidden room into a nightmarish battleground. Within the depths of the basement, the Lutz family faced their ultimate test. The entities manifested with terrifying force, their forms twisted and grotesque, their eyes filled with an unholy hunger. The air crackled with malevolence as the forces of darkness clashed with the flickering remnants of light that still resided within the Lutz's souls. In a final, climactic battle, the Lutz family fought desperately for their lives. They summoned every ounce of strength and resilience, driven by the unyielding love that bound them together. It was a battle between the forces of good and evil, fought within the confines of their haunted home. When the dust settled and the echoes of the battle faded, the Lutzes emerged victorious, their bodies battered and their spirits scarred, but their indomitable will unbroken. The malevolent entities, weakened by their encounter with the family's unwavering defiance, retreated into the shadows, their presence diminished but never truly extinguished. As the Lutz family left the Amityville house behind, they carried with them the imprints of their terrifying ordeal. The horror they faced would forever shape their lives, a constant reminder of the malevolent entities that lurk within the darkest corners of existence. The Amityville house, a place forever tainted by evil, stood as a chilling testament to the battle fought within its walls. And so, the tale of the Lutz family's encounter with the malevolent entities in the Amityville house serves as a cautionary tale, a chilling reminder that evil can manifest itself in the most unsuspecting places. It is a tale that lingers in the depths of our psyche, a reminder that even in the face of unimaginable horror, the human spirit can rise above and conquer the forces that seek to destroy it. Within the confines of the Amityville house, the Lutz family found themselves delving into a dark labyrinth of secrets and sinister hauntings. As they unearthed the chilling truths hidden beneath the surface, the veil of normalcy was torn away, revealing the depths of the malevolence that resided within their once beloved home. It began innocuously, with whispers and rumors of a gruesome past that clung to the Amityville house like a festering wound. As the Lutz family delved into the history of their abode, they discovered that it was once the site of a brutal mass murder. Ronald DeFeo Jr., the previous owner, had mercilessly slain his entire family within the very walls that now held them captive. The hidden room in the basement became a focal point of their investigation. Its presence, concealed from view, was a sinister testament to the darkness that lurked within the heart of the house. The Lutzes, driven by a morbid curiosity and a need to understand the malevolent forces that plagued them, descended into the depths of the basement. What they found there was a chilling tableau of horror. The room was adorned with remnants of occult rituals, symbols etched into the walls with the blood of the innocent. The air was heavy with a palpable sense of dread, as if the room itself were a conduit to another realm, a gateway to unfathomable evil. The very architecture seemed to contort, its angles distorted, as if trying to escape the taint of the atrocities committed within its confines. As the Lutz family delved deeper into the secrets of the Amityville house, they uncovered a web of darkness that reached far beyond the DeFeo family tragedy. Tales of occult practices and ancient rituals emerged, whispered rumors of otherworldly entities that had been summoned within those walls. It became clear that the malevolence that plagued them was not a mere haunting but something far more sinister, a convergence of forces from beyond the realm of the living. The sinister hauntings intensified, their manifestations growing more tangible and menacing. Visions of tormented souls roamed the hallways, their spectral figures etched with despair and rage. Unholy presences made themselves known, their malevolent intent radiating from every corner of the house. The very air became charged with a malefic energy, crackling with the presence of something ancient and evil. The Lutz family's discoveries plunged them into a maelstrom of fear and despair. The once charming Amityville house revealed its true nature, a vessel for darkness, a convergence point for otherworldly forces. The sinister hauntings, no longer confined to the shadows, wrapped their tendrils around the family, entwining them in a web of terror from which escape seemed impossible. In the depths of the sinister hauntings, the Lutz family realized they were not alone. They were trapped in a macabre dance with entities that hungered for their souls. As the malevolent forces reveled in their torment, the Lutz family found themselves standing at the precipice of a harrowing journey into the heart of darkness, where the true horrors of Amityville awaited their inevitable confrontation. As the Lutz family continued their descent into the depths of the sinister hauntings within the Amityville house, the malevolent forces unleashed their full fury, revealing a darkness that defied comprehension. The veil between the living and the dead grew thinner, and the Lutz family found themselves caught in a nightmarish dance with the supernatural. The walls of the house, once benign and comforting, became distorted mirrors reflecting the horrors that lay within. Shadows danced with a life of their own, contorting into twisted figures that whispered unholy secrets into the Lutz's ears. The house itself seemed to shift and breathe, as if alive with a malefic presence that reveled in the family's torment. But it was during the witching hour, when the moon hung low in the sky and the world slumbered in darkness, that the sinister hauntings reached their zenith. The Lutz family would be jolted awake, their hearts pounding, as the house erupted in a cacophony of unholy sounds. Blood-curdling screams echoed through the halls, intermingling with demonic growls that seemed to emanate from the very bowels of the earth. Doors slammed shut with a force that shook the foundations of the house, imprisoning the family within its malevolent embrace. Windows rattled in their frames, as if desperately trying to break free from the grip of the supernatural. The very foundation of the Amityville house quaked, its integrity challenged by the sinister forces that sought to break through the barrier between worlds. The Lutz family found themselves the unwitting participants in a macabre theater of horror. Poltergeist activity escalated, with objects hurtling through the air, propelled by unseen hands. Furniture rearranged itself in grotesque formations, as if obeying the whims of an otherworldly choreographer. The atmosphere grew thick with an oppressive presence, suffocating the family as they struggled to breathe in its suffocating grip. But it was the voices that haunted them the most. Whispers, dripping with malevolence, filled their ears. They heard the anguished cries of the deceased, their tortured souls trapped within the confines of the house. The voices spoke of unspeakable pain and suffering, their words etching themselves into the minds of the Lutz family, a constant reminder of the horrors they were forced to endure. With each passing day, the sinister hauntings tightened their grip, pushing the Lutz family to the brink of their sanity. Sleep became a distant luxury, replaced by relentless nightmares that blended with the waking world. The line between reality and the supernatural blurred, leaving the family in a perpetual state of disorientation and terror. As the sinister hauntings continued to escalate, the Lutz family found themselves teetering on the precipice of their own minds. Paranoia gnawed at their thoughts, poisoning their perceptions of the world around them. Trust became a fragile concept, shattered by the malevolent forces that manipulated their every thought and emotion. In the face of these sinister hauntings, the Lutz family's fortitude was tested. They stood together, clinging to their love and determination, as they faced a relentless onslaught of terror. But little did they know that the true depths of darkness were yet to be revealed, as the malevolent forces bided their time, preparing for the final act of their malefic performance within the Amityville house. In the final act of the Lutz family's nightmarish descent into the sinister hauntings of the Amityville house, the malevolent forces unleashed their ultimate power, culminating in a cataclysmic revelation that would forever haunt their souls. As the sinister hauntings intensified, the Amityville house became a twisted labyrinth of terror. The very walls seemed to pulse with a dark energy, resonating with the tormented echoes of the past. The air grew thick with a suffocating malevolence, as if the house itself exhaled the breath of ancient evil. The Lutz family, consumed by fear and desperation, found themselves thrust into a living nightmare. Apparitions materialized before their eyes, their ghostly forms imbued with a malefic presence that sent shivers coursing through their veins. The spirits of long-departed souls reached out from the shadows, their ethereal touch leaving an indelible mark on the psyche of the Lutzes. But it was within the hidden room in the basement that the sinister hauntings reached their zenith. The Lutz family, driven by an insatiable curiosity tinged with trepidation, ventured further into the heart of darkness. As they crossed the threshold, they were greeted by a crescendo of supernatural fury that defied comprehension. Within the hidden room, the very fabric of reality seemed to unravel. The air crackled with an electric charge, sending hair-raising tremors through the Lutzes' bodies. Malevolent spirits materialized, their faces twisted with hatred and anguish, their eyes burning with an otherworldly fire. They swirled around the family, taunting and tormenting with an insidious delight. The room itself became a vortex of terror, defying the laws of physics and logic. Its dimensions expanded and contracted, trapping the Lutz family within its shifting walls. Time became distorted, elongating each second into an eternity of torment. The weight of the malevolent entities pressed upon their shoulders, threatening to crush their spirits beneath its unfathomable force. Within this maelstrom of horror, the Lutz family fought for their very souls. They summoned every ounce of courage, their love for one another serving as a beacon of light in the encroaching darkness. Their desperate struggle became a battle against the malevolent forces that sought to consume them, a battle that would determine their ultimate fate. The sinister hauntings raged on, a tempest of supernatural fury that tested the Lutz family's resolve. The very essence of their being quivered on the edge of annihilation, threatened by the overwhelming power of the malevolent entities. But through sheer determination and an unwavering bond, they found the strength to resist. In a final, climactic confrontation, the Lutz family faced the full wrath of the sinister hauntings. Their spirits were battered and bruised, their bodies weary from the relentless onslaught. But as they stood united against the malevolent forces, a glimmer of hope pierced the darkness. Their love and resilience proved to be an indomitable force, driving back the supernatural entities that sought to claim their souls. As the malevolent forces retreated into the shadows, their presence diminished but not extinguished, the Lutz family emerged from the Amityville house forever changed. They carried the scars of their ordeal, a testament to the horrors they had faced. The sinister hauntings became a part of their collective consciousness, a dark chapter etched into their very souls. And so, the sinister hauntings of the Amityville house served as a chilling reminder of the tenuous boundaries between the living and the dead, the fragility of the human psyche, and the enduring power of love and resilience. The Lutz family's ordeal became a cautionary tale, a chilling testament to the depths of darkness that can lurk within the most ordinary seeming homes. As their story echoed through the annals of supernatural lore, the sinister hauntings of the Amityville house left an indelible mark on the world. It serves as a grim reminder that evil can take root in the most unsuspecting places, lurking within the walls of our homes and the recesses of our minds. The Amityville house stands as a monument to the enduring power of fear, the strength of the human spirit, and the haunting allure of the unknown. It will forever serve as a chilling beacon, warning future occupants to tread cautiously and heed the whispers that echo within its darkened halls. For the Lutz family, their lives were forever intertwined with the sinister hauntings of Amityville. Though they escaped the physical confines of the house, the memories of their ordeal continued to haunt their dreams and shape their reality. Their story serves as a reminder that even in the face of unimaginable horror, the resilience of the human spirit can prevail, lighting a path through the darkest of nights. And so, the sinister hauntings of the Amityville house linger in our collective consciousness, a chilling tale of malevolent entities, psychological torment, and the enduring power of the human spirit. It reminds us that sometimes, the most horrifying stories are the ones that unravel within the seemingly ordinary, pushing the boundaries of our understanding and testing the limits of our courage. Within the tapestry of terror that unfolded in the Amityville house, the Lutz family's minds became battlegrounds for psychological breakdowns of epic proportions. The relentless forces that besieged their home tore at the fabric of their sanity, unraveling their minds thread by thread. It began subtly, with a nagging sense of unease that nestled deep within their subconscious. The once cozy rooms of their new home now seemed suffused with an undercurrent of dread. Shadows danced on the periphery of their vision, whispering sinister secrets that burrowed into their thoughts like worms. The weight of the malevolent presence bore down upon George Lutz, the patriarch of the family, with an unrelenting force. As each day wore on, he felt the grip of an invisible hand tightening around his mind. Paranoia consumed his thoughts, twisting reality into a distorted funhouse mirror. Every creak of the floorboards, every flicker of movement in the corner of his eye, sent his heart racing with a mixture of dread and irrational fear. Kathy, too, felt the tendrils of madness wrapping around her psyche. The once loving and nurturing mother found herself succumbing to fits of irrational anger and despair. Her emotions swung like a pendulum, swaying from the depths of sorrow to the heights of uncontrolled rage. The sinister forces within the house probed her vulnerabilities, exploiting her deepest fears and insecurities until they gnawed at the very core of her being. The children, innocent souls caught in the vortex of their parents' psychological breakdowns, suffered in their own unique ways. The weight of the malevolent presence pressed upon them like a suffocating fog, causing their once bright spirits to wither. Night after night, they were plagued by nightmarish visions and sleepless terror, their minds scarred by horrors beyond their tender years. As the psychological breakdowns deepened, the Lutz family found themselves questioning their own sanity. They wondered if the malevolent forces within the house were mere figments of their imagination, manifestations of their own unraveling minds. But the horrors they witnessed were too vivid, too tangible, to dismiss as mere delusions. The house had become a malefic breeding ground for their darkest fears and anxieties, amplifying them until they eclipsed all semblance of reason. Within the Amityville house, the boundaries between the real and the imagined blurred into an indistinguishable haze. The psychological breakdowns of the Lutz family became a battleground where the sinister forces toyed with their perceptions and fractured their sense of self. In the depths of their unraveling minds, they were left teetering on the precipice of madness, their grip on reality slipping through their trembling fingers. Little did they know that the psychological breakdowns they experienced were merely the first cracks in the facade of their sanity. The true horrors of the Amityville house, like a gathering storm, loomed on the horizon, ready to unleash their full fury upon the fragile remains of their shattered minds. The psychological breakdowns of the Lutz family within the Amityville house deepened, like festering wounds that refused to heal. The malevolent forces that infested their home continued their relentless assault on their fragile minds, pushing them further into the abyss of madness. George Lutz, once a pillar of strength, found his grip on reality slipping through his fingers like grains of sand. The weight of the supernatural presence bore down upon him, distorting his perception of the world around him. He became increasingly withdrawn, lost in the labyrinth of his own thoughts. The line between his nightmares and waking reality blurred, leaving him adrift in a sea of uncertainty. The house itself seemed to taunt George, as if it were a sentient being reveling in his mental deterioration. Whispers echoed through the halls, their insidious words burrowing deep into his consciousness. Shadows danced and shifted, distorting his sense of space and time. The walls closed in, pressing upon him with a suffocating intensity. Kathy, too, continued her descent into madness. The once loving mother now teetered on the edge of emotional collapse. Her mind became a breeding ground for paranoia and delusion. She imagined malevolent eyes watching her every move, accusing whispers lingering in her ears. Her thoughts spiraled into a dark abyss, where reality and nightmare merged into a harrowing tapestry of despair. The psychological breakdowns of the Lutz children intensified as well, as the malevolent forces within the house preyed upon their innocent minds. Night after night, they were tormented by vivid nightmares that left them trembling in fear. Their once bright eyes now held a haunted gaze, the light of their childhood dimmed by the horrors they witnessed within the Amityville house. The very fabric of the Lutz family's existence began to unravel. Their once solid bonds strained under the weight of their individual breakdowns. Communication became a battlefield of misinterpretation and paranoia, each word a potential trigger for further descent into madness. They were isolated within the walls of their own psychological turmoil, trapped in a cycle of fear and confusion. As the psychological breakdowns deepened, the malevolent forces within the Amityville house reveled in their twisted victory. They fed off the Lutz family's fear and anguish, like parasites draining the life force from their shattered souls. The house itself became a reflection of their deteriorating mental states, a manifestation of their darkest thoughts and desires. The psychological breakdowns of the Lutz family were like a malignant virus, infecting every aspect of their lives. They were left teetering on the precipice of their own minds, their grip on reality slipping further with each passing day. Little did they know that the true horror of the Amityville house had yet to fully reveal itself, poised to plunge them into an even deeper descent into the abyss of their own psychological breakdowns. In the final act of the Lutz family's psychological breakdowns within the Amityville house, the malevolent forces unleashed their most devastating blows, shattering the remnants of their sanity and plunging them into the darkest depths of their own minds. George Lutz, consumed by the maelstrom of his psychological unraveling, found himself lost in a maze of delusions and paranoia. The line between reality and hallucination blurred beyond recognition. Shadows whispered malevolent secrets, urging him towards acts of violence and self-destruction. His mind became a battlefield, torn between the remnants of his rationality and the insidious whispers of the supernatural. Kathy, once a beacon of strength, succumbed fully to the horrors within the Amityville house. Her psychological breakdowns twisted her perception of the world, distorting her thoughts into a grotesque funhouse of fear and despair. She questioned her own identity, unsure of who she truly was in the face of the malevolent forces that manipulated her every thought. Her mind became a prison, with the walls closing in tighter and tighter, suffocating her spirit. The psychological breakdowns of the Lutz children reached their climax as well. Their innocent minds, once filled with wonder and joy, now became battlegrounds for the malevolent entities. Nightmares consumed their sleep, blurring the lines between dreams and reality. The supernatural presence seeped into their thoughts, leaving them trapped in a web of confusion and terror. Their psychological breakdowns mirrored those of their parents, a reflection of the darkness that had infiltrated their lives. Within the depths of their psychological breakdowns, the Lutz family teetered on the precipice of madness. Reality fractured into shards, with each shard reflecting a distorted version of their own fractured selves. They were lost within the labyrinth of their own minds, their thoughts tainted by the malevolent forces that had claimed their home. As their psychological breakdowns reached their apex, the malevolent forces reveled in their victory. They relished in the chaos and despair, feeding off the shattered remnants of the Lutz family's sanity. The Amityville house became a malefic entity, an embodiment of the psychological breakdowns that had consumed its inhabitants. Yet, within the darkest moments, a flicker of resilience remained. The Lutz family, in the face of overwhelming horror, clung to their love for one another. It became their only anchor, their only defense against the psychological abyss that threatened to swallow them whole. Their shared strength became a beacon of hope, pushing them to fight against the onslaught of their psychological breakdowns, even as the malevolent forces reveled in their suffering. In the final confrontation, the Lutz family would face the ultimate test of their resilience. Their psychological breakdowns would reach a boiling point, a crescendo of terror and desperation. It would be a battle for their very souls, a struggle to reclaim their shattered minds from the clutches of the supernatural. Little did they know that within the depths of their psychological breakdowns lay the key to their survival. For it is often in the darkest moments, when the mind is pushed to its limits, that the seeds of resilience and strength can sprout. In the face of unimaginable horrors, the Lutz family would discover the depths of their own inner fortitude, transcending the boundaries of their psychological breakdowns and emerging forever changed. In the face of unrelenting horror within the Amityville house, the Lutz family's desperation to escape the clutches of the malevolent forces reached a fever pitch. Their minds frayed and their spirits battered, they embarked on a series of desperate attempts to break free from the suffocating grip of their haunted home. Their first instinct was to seek solace outside the confines of the Amityville house, to find refuge in the embrace of the outside world. But as they ventured beyond their haunted sanctuary, they soon realized that the malevolent forces followed, their presence permeating every aspect of their lives. The darkness seemed to seep into the very fabric of their existence, poisoning relationships and rendering their attempts at escape futile. George Lutz, driven by a primal need to protect his family, explored every avenue of escape. He consulted experts in the paranormal, seeking their guidance and expertise. But their words offered little comfort, only confirming the gravity of the situation. The malevolent forces within the Amityville house seemed impervious to conventional means of escape, defying logical explanation. Desperation bred unconventional measures. The Lutz family turned to the power of faith, seeking solace and answers within the realm of religion. They sought the assistance of priests, hoping that the sacred rites and blessings would exorcise the evil that had claimed their home. But even the rituals of faith could not fully dispel the darkness that plagued them, leaving them trapped in a purgatory between the realms of the living and the dead. As their attempts to escape the Amityville house proved fruitless, the Lutz family's desperation grew. They contemplated drastic measures, tempted by the idea of abandoning their haunted home entirely. But the malevolent forces, sensing their vulnerability, intensified their attacks, threatening dire consequences should they dare to flee. Each night, as the family huddled together in fear, they devised plans to escape the clutches of the supernatural. They plotted their route, gathered their belongings, and prepared for their moment of reckoning. But as the fateful hour approached, the malevolent entities unleashed a torrent of terror, hurling the Lutz family into a nightmare beyond their imagination. Doors slammed shut, sealing off escape routes. Invisible hands pushed and pulled, guiding them back into the heart of the haunted house. Desperation drove them to the brink of madness, their spirits shattered, their hope flickering like a dying flame. In their darkest moments, they contemplated the unthinkable, a final, desperate act that would sever the ties that bound them to the Amityville house. But the love for their family, the flicker of resilience that remained, anchored them to life, even in the face of overwhelming horror. In their most audacious attempt to escape, The Lutz family rallied their strength and resolve to confront the malevolent forces head-on. They faced the heart of darkness within the Amityville house, armed with determination and a flicker of hope. It was a battle for their lives, their very souls, as they braved the supernatural onslaught with a tenacity born of desperation. But little did they know that their desperate attempts to escape would lead them deeper into the heart of the malevolent forces. The Amityville house, like a predatory beast, tightened its grip, savoring their struggles and toying with their hopes of freedom. The labyrinthine halls echoed with their cries, as their attempts at escape became a macabre dance with the forces that sought to claim them. In the end, the Lutz family's desperate attempts to escape would test the limits of their endurance, their love, and their will to survive. The malevolent forces within the Amityville house, feeding off their desperation, reveled in the chaos they had wrought, manipulating their every move and exploiting their vulnerability. As the Lutz family's attempts to escape grew increasingly desperate, so too did the horrors that awaited them. Each door they tried to open slammed shut with a resounding finality, trapping them within the malevolent embrace of the house. Windows became barriers to freedom, refusing to yield to their desperate pleas for release. Their minds, fragile from the relentless onslaught, teetered on the edge of madness. Paranoia consumed their thoughts, distorting their perceptions of reality. Every sound became a sinister whisper, every shadow a lurking threat. They questioned their own sanity as their desperate attempts to escape seemed to be met with impossible odds. In their desperation, they turned to unorthodox methods. They sought the guidance of psychics and mediums, hoping to uncover a solution hidden beyond the realm of the living. Yet, even in the presence of these supposed conduits to the supernatural, the malevolent forces mocked their efforts, revealing fragments of truth veiled in cryptic riddles. Days turned into a nightmarish blur as their physical and mental strength waned. Sleep, once an escape from the horrors, became a battlefield of nightmarish visions and torturous dreams. They became prisoners not only within the confines of the Amityville house but also within the darkest recesses of their own minds. Their desperation grew to a fever pitch, pushing them to the brink of their endurance. They contemplated desperate acts of self-sacrifice, willing to risk everything to free themselves from the grip of the malevolent forces. But even as the house seemed to tighten its hold, a flicker of resilience burned within their hearts, a glimmer of hope that refused to be extinguished. In their final, desperate attempt to escape, the Lutz family confronted the malevolent entities with a defiance born of desperation. Armed with their love for one another and a resolve to reclaim their lives, they braved the darkest corners of the house. They fought tooth and nail, their bodies and spirits battered but unyielding, against the supernatural forces that sought to claim them. But whether their desperate attempts to escape would prove successful or lead to their ultimate demise remained uncertain. The Amityville house, an entity of its own, absorbed their struggles and fears, relishing in their desperation. The malevolent forces, as cunning as they were insidious, played a final hand, plunging the Lutz family into a final confrontation that would test the limits of their strength and determination. In the end, their desperate attempts to escape from the clutches of the Amityville house would leave an indelible mark on their souls. Whether they triumphed over the malevolent forces or succumbed to their insidious power, the horrors they endured would forever haunt their lives and serve as a chilling reminder of the depths of desperation and the relentless pursuit of freedom. In the climactic final confrontation between the Lutz family and the malevolent forces within the Amityville house, the battle for their lives and sanity reached its zenith. It was a struggle against the very essence of darkness, a harrowing test of their strength and resilience. Within the labyrinthine halls, the air crackled with a palpable malevolence. The shadows writhed, contorting into grotesque shapes that taunted the family's senses. The house itself seemed to pulse with an unholy energy, as if it were a living, breathing entity hell-bent on their destruction. The Lutz family, battered but undeterred, mustered their remaining courage and pressed forward. They traversed the treacherous corridors, their footsteps echoing like a defiant heartbeat. Every fiber of their being screamed in protest, but they pushed on, propelled by a desperate determination to reclaim their lives. As they approached the heart of the house, the final battleground, the malevolent entities manifested with terrifying force. Their forms twisted and grotesque, their eyes ablaze with an unholy hunger. They emanated an aura of pure malevolence that threatened to consume everything in its path. A fierce struggle ensued, a clash between the forces of light and darkness. The Lutz family fought with a tenacity born of desperation, their love and resilience forming an impenetrable shield against the onslaught. They wielded the weapons of their own shattered sanity, using their fragmented minds as tools of defiance against the supernatural onslaught. In the chaos of the final confrontation, the house itself seemed to revolt against its own malevolent nature. The walls trembled, groaning under the weight of the battle. Objects hurled through the air, propelled by unseen hands. The very foundation of the Amityville house quaked, threatening to crumble under the strain of the cataclysmic clash. In a crescendo of horror and defiance, the Lutz family unleashed their final assault. Their spirits burned with a fierce determination, pushing them beyond the boundaries of their physical and mental limitations. They confronted the malevolent forces head-on, refusing to be consumed by the darkness that had ensnared them for so long. In the end, the outcome of the final confrontation remained shrouded in a chilling uncertainty. The forces of good clashed with the relentless evil, each vying for supremacy. The Amityville house stood as a battleground, its walls bearing the scars of the ferocious struggle that unfolded within its haunted confines. As the echoes of the final confrontation faded, the Lutz family emerged battered but triumphant, their resilience a testament to the indomitable spirit of humanity. The malevolent forces, weakened by their unwavering defiance, retreated into the depths of the Amityville house, their presence diminished but never truly extinguished. The final confrontation would forever remain etched in the Lutz family's memories, a harrowing testament to the power of darkness and the unwavering strength of the human spirit. The Amityville house, a place forever stained by evil, stood as a chilling reminder of the battle fought within its walls. And so, the final confrontation served as a haunting reminder that the forces of darkness may never truly be vanquished. They linger in the shadows, awaiting their next opportunity to ensnare the unwary. But the Lutz family's harrowing ordeal within the Amityville house would forever stand as a testament to the resilience and courage of those who dare to confront the darkest corners of existence. In the aftermath of the harrowing ordeal within the Amityville house, the Lutz family emerged forever changed. Their lives bore the scars of the psychological and supernatural torment they endured, but they refused to be defined solely by the horrors they faced. The Amityville house, a dark chapter in their lives, became a cautionary tale that reverberated through their thoughts and dreams. Its malevolence lingered in their minds, an indelible mark etched into their souls. But the Lutz family persevered, their spirits tempered by the crucible of their terrifying experience. They found solace in one another, their bond forged in the crucible of darkness. Love became their anchor, their guiding light through the lingering shadows. They sought therapy and support, striving to heal the wounds that ran deep within their psyches. The Amityville house, tainted by its own malevolence, stood as a testament to the fragility of the human psyche and the depths of evil that can lurk within the most unassuming places. It became a legend, whispered in hushed tones, a warning to those who dared to venture into the realm of the unknown. The Lutz family, despite the lingering trauma, found strength in their survival. They became beacons of resilience, their story a testament to the indomitable spirit of humanity in the face of unimaginable horrors. They refused to let the darkness define them, instead choosing to move forward, carrying the lessons learned from their ordeal. Their experience within the Amityville house left an indelible mark on their lives and the lives of those who heard their tale. It became a chilling reminder that evil can take root anywhere, lurking in the shadows and waiting for an opportunity to consume the unwary. But the Lutz family, with their unwavering resolve, showed that even in the face of unspeakable horror, the human spirit can endure. They became a beacon of hope, a testament to the power of love and resilience in the face of darkness. And so, the Amityville house faded into the annals of history, its malevolent presence a distant echo in the minds of those who knew its story. The Lutz family moved forward, forever changed but unbroken, a living testament to the enduring power of the human spirit.